Hi hand readers. Today's topic is the 19th tutorial on thumbs. It's actually the second last of my tutorials specific to thumbs. The topic is Peacock's eyes, the beautiful and evocative dermatoglyphic that some people are blessed with, and what it might mean when they appear on a thumb tip. If you don't know me, my name's Jennifer. I'm a long-time practitioner, teacher, and author of all matters to do with chirology, palmistry, and hand reading. I'm streaming to you from the beautiful South Coast, Ramsgate specifically. It's a little town in KZN where I'm kind of stuck for the lockdown. And what a critical time it is. We're all in some element of a survival crisis. This crisis has spilled into our reality in a big way. Things are happening too fast and too furiously for us to really assimilate and to integrate. The demands of the situation are so huge. We're being bombarded with all kinds of variables of information. We feel controlled. We've got massive economic fears. It's all about the unknown at the moment, the great unknown like never before. The extent of this is absolutely monumental. I must say, from the perspective of being a hand reader, I've never been more grateful for the opportunity to hold people's hands in mine. Of course, now we're not allowed to touch each other. I've been doing a few online readings and exploring with my clients what opportunities, what genuine opportunities, meanings, and significance might lie within the folds of this crisis. To align with the economic constraints that we're all facing, I've reduced my fee dramatically. I'd invite you to email me at jen@chiro.coza. You'll see the spelling at the end of this video, and to simply send me a couple of photographs and your date of birth, and we'll discuss payment and what you can and can't manage, and then we can perhaps explore ways that you can optimize your strengths during this period. Let's begin with what a peacock's eye might look like. It's a very rare marking on thumbs, as I think I mentioned earlier, and it's known as a composite glyph. In other words, it's composed of two separate patterns. In this instance, a loop, which is governed by water, and a whirl, which is governed by air. And one triradius supports the loop section of the pattern, as you can see in the image here, and one triradius may appear underneath or in between the pattern within the loop supporting the whirl. In essence, it's a loop containing a whirl in a teardrop-shaped pocket. And in the 5-element system of how to read hands, this is in fact the only dermatoglyphic that is governed by more than one element, in this instance water and air. And the influences exerted by this pattern are best understood by combining the meanings for both loops and whirls. The pattern really does look a little like the tail of a peacock, thus the name, and the size of the little whirl inside the loop can vary from tiny to large. This pattern very seldom enters from the radial side of the hand. In case you don't know, the radial side is the thumb side of the hand, so the inflow of the pattern flowing in from the thumb side is most unusual. Mostly it will enter from the ulna or the baby finger side. This is another variation of a category of fingerprint that is also known as a peacock's eye, much more delicate form. It's known as a flare or a flame, and what happens here is that there's no whirl pocketed in the loop, but instead the ridges of the loop converge and encapsulate a teeny-weeny little, almost an eye. And as I've said so many times, the question is, what exactly do thumbs represent? And of course the tip represents our will. Well, that's a very simple way of perceiving it, but it's all about volition and determination, how we extend our energies out into the world, how we apply ourselves, and with what level of determination. So how might this beautiful peacock's eye glyph have influence on the way we express ourselves in the world? And we now break that down into the various levels of, we could say, on the earth level, which has to do with the physical aspect of people's lives, the water level, the emotional, the fire level, the vocational, the air level, the mental, and the chi level, the spiritual. When we look at the earth level of how the peacock's eye dermatoglyphic might play out its influence in a person's life, we might consider their home life, and that they will be motivated to manifest their environment of choice, because environment for those people with peacock's eyes is going to be very important. Also on the earth level, which relates very much to the material aspect of life, the person will have a strong sense of self-preservation and quite likely will create, let's say, success and abundance in their lives. Remember too that what I'm sharing today are just small little clues as to what you might want to incorporate into your reading regarding interpretation of a peacock's eye on a thumb. These are not cast in stone. They're just little ideas, concepts that I've put together that I thought might support you in how to interpret this marker. On the water level of how peacock's eyes on people's thumbs might exert their influence, how it might play out in a person's life, we're looking into their emotional responses. And here we have a person with idealistically high standards. They might be quite emotionally impressionable, very sensitive, very discerning as well about who they like to be with and what they like around them. They have an innate grace and style. So again, that sense of environment comes into the mix here. They need to have harmony. And taste will be very distinctive. Also, there will be deep feeling responses of inspiration and fascination to their world. Fire, of course, relates to vocation, and in this case, usually you'll find people with peacock's eyes are creatives in some way. Also, there's a saying with peacock's eyes, they have an eye for the main chance. It may sound a little opportunistic, but at the end of the day, there's no real harm in grabbing the opportunity, spotting the gap, so to speak, because peacock's eyes do relate also to having a very observant eye. And precision in their work will show up no matter what their career, but very often it will be linked to decorative arts and design. And diversity in action would be preferred. They'd be easily bored. They might be able to multitask with ease as well. Now, on an air level, here's a person who's an individualist. They're talented. We draw on the energy of the world. And of course, worlds are always about the individualist. There will be talented people that you can be sure of. There will be some real distinctive and out of the ordinary capacity within them, especially because the pattern is so unusual. And one thing I have found is that people with peacock's eyes and peacock's eyes on thumbs have the ability to detach themselves and to delay decisions. They will pause, take stock, analyze a situation, observe the situation before making decisions. And perhaps my most favorite topic, always the chi level, the spiritual level in people's lives. Here, a person with a peacock's eye and a thumb will always see beyond the apparent. We might say that the peacock's eye opens a portal of perception. It's as if there's a gift of insight bestowed on that person. You might want to point out to them that they have the capacity to look at life through eyes of wonder, as if God is beauty in small things. The traditional meaning for a peacock's eye dermatoglyphic in a palm is protection, luck, and good fortune. And peacocks themselves, of course, are symbols, and they're symbols for compassion and love and royalty and abundance and prosperity. So it's a very auspicious marking, and if you do have a peacock's eye dermatoglyphic on your thumb, you're very fortunate. I like to collect pictures of peacock's eyes on thumbs, and if you yourself have one or someone you know has one, please send me a photograph. I'd really be grateful to add to my collection. And again, just before I close, I just want to say all I need from you is a few photographs of your hands, and I really invite you to contact me and let's have a look at what's going on, where to from here for you now. In next week's tutorial, which is number 20 of my series on thumbs, and the final, in fact, I will be talking about the bar lines and activation lines, the lines which are vertical and the lines which cross on the various thumb phalanges. Thank you so much for watching and listening. See you next week.